Hello everybody. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope that you are here. Alexander, that's special for you, by the way. So if you have any comments or questions, please add your comments and add your questions in the comments. Okay, I will full screen now. Let's start. I'll check with my friends on Facebook. تمام. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. اللهم علمنا ما ينفعنا وانفعنا بما علمتنا وزدنا علما. Hello everybody, my name is Munir Mahdi. This presentation that I presented as requested by the SEG student chapter in Egypt. As I said, it's my first time to record a live video in English without a pre-preparation, by the way, before. So it's a new experiment for me, and I hope that the presentation is really added to you. Thanks for Alexander. He gave the comment. He asked me to illustrate this presentation in English. He noticed me to a very important point that I would like to try, and I hope that the presentation in English is similar to and equivalent to, or as good as it was in Arabic. Okay, as you know, Hassana Dome and Abu Rawash. Today we're going to talk about Hassana Dome and Abu Rawash village anticline. As you know, Hassana Dome and Abu Rawash formation, it's one of the very important outcrops in the western desert of Egypt. It's the only outcrop for the late Cretaceous in the western desert of Egypt, and that gives that makes the approach of the Hassana Dome anticline or the Hassana anticline important for us, for geologists who are mainly working in the western desert of Egypt. As we know, Abu Rawash formation, the late Cretaceous Abu Rawash formation, is one of the very important source and reservoir rock in the western desert of Egypt. And studying this formation from the outcrop outcrop is one of the very important tasks for us, or for the geologists working in the petroleum companies, and for the undergraduate students, by the way. The Hassana Dome is located along the Cairo-Alexandria Desert Road. If you are going from the Cairo, going from Cairo to the Alexandria, you will start with the Hassana Dome and the Abu Rawash. The Hassana Dome is here on the left of the road, of the Alexandria Road, and the whole area of the Hassana Dome Abu Rawash is, and this is the whole area of the Hassana Dome Abu Rawash, and that's the Hassana Dome anticline. That's an overview of the Hassana Dome anticline. This is a closed view from the Google Earth to the Hassana Dome and to the Hassana anticline, and that's the the Cairo-Alexandria Desert Road. Okay. This field trip was organized by the Oil and Gas Skills Company in Egypt, under supervision of Professor Dr. Adil Ramadan Mustafa, Professor of Structural Geology, Faculty of Science and Ancients University, and Professor Ahmed Niazi al-Barkouki, Professor of Sedimentology, Faculty of Science, Cairo University. This field trip was in 2014. Okay. How the Hassana Dome anticline initiated? As we know, in the late Cretaceous, since 94 million years ago, there was a compression between the African plate and the Eurasian plate. As we see in this image, there was a compression between the African plate and the Eurasian plate. And from the legend, this line represents the formation of the subduction zones along the two plates. This compression leads to the formation of a belt of anticlines extended along Syria, Lebanon, Egypt, and Libya. In Egypt, these anticlines represented by Jabal al-Halal, Jabal Lilig, Jabal Maghara in Sinai, in northern Sinai, Jabal Shabrawit and Wadi Araba anticline in northern eastern desert, and Jabal and Al-Hassana anticline in the western desert of Egypt, and extends to the western desert. The Abu Ghadi basin is characterized by the formation or having anticlines related to this structure, which is known by the Syrian arc system, by the way, related to the Syrian arc system, but its subsurface or recorded by from subsurface seismic data. So the compression between the Eurasian plate and the African plate lead to the formation of the Syrian arc system. It's a belt of anticline extend along the northern, along Syria, Lebanon, northern Egypt, and Libya. In northern Egypt, represented by some anticlines in northern Sinai, Jabal Shabrawit and Wadi Araba in northern eastern desert, and Hassana Dome in the western desert, and some anticlines along Abu Ghadi basin recording in subsurface data. Okay, stratigraphic Abu Rawash or Hassana Dome is represented by 5 members of Abu Rawash formation. Generally, Abu Rawash is related to the Turonian and Cretaceous formation. Abu Rawash is related to the Cretaceous. It's Turonian and Cretaceous. The formation is divided into 7 members: A, B, C, D, F, and G. But in Hassana Dome anticline, in Hassana anticline and Abu Rawash village, only 5 members that appeared clearly on the surface: Abu Rawash A, 2, Abu Rawash E. Okay, Abu Rawash members is contain mainly alternating beds of shale and limestone with intercalation of sandstone and marl. But the main component of the Abu Rawash members are mainly shale and limestone. Abu Rawash A is composed mainly of shale and limestone with some marls. Here is the outcrop of Abu Rawash A. By the way, this is Abu Rawash B, Abu Rawash D, and there is a fault here that brings the Abu Rawash A member besides to the Abu Rawash D member. That's followed by Abu Rawash B and Abu Rawash C, as we see here. That's here the Abu Rawash B member and Abu Rawash C member. Abu Rawash B is composed mainly of chalk limestone with intercalated with sheared bands of sheared CHERT. So Abu Rawash B is composed mainly of pure chalk limestone with sheared bands. Abu Rawash C is composed of limestone with sandstone and marl. Abu Rawash C, limestone with sandstone and marl. Abu Rawash C is characterized by fossils of Actionella and rhodistes. And as we know, rhodistes and Actionella is characterized for shallow marine sediments. It's enriched of it's related to the Jurassic and the late until it started by the Jurassic until the late Cretaceous, and characterized by shallow marine sediments which contain low current and quiet environment. Okay. Abu Rawash C member is followed by Abu Rawash D member, which is pure limestone, and finally Abu Rawash E member, which is characterized by its pure limestone with some intercalation of shale, and in the subsurface formations, Abu Rawash E member contain anhydrite bands or anhydrite layers. Only 2 bits, very small bits of anhydrite. Okay, so from Abu Rawash A to Abu Rawash E, we have alternating bits of shale and limestone with very little bits of sandstone and marl, and only 1 or 2 bits with anhydrite appeared only in the subsurface data. Okay, that's the stratigraphic column of the Abu Rawash area and Hassana anticline. Some subsurface structures that characterize the Abu Rawash area and Hassana anticline. Here's the Abu Rawash B member, the Abu Rawash B member. We can recognize normal faults of opposite dip direction, forming graben and here is another normal faults forming horsts. So we have a set of horsts and gravens on a large scale or on a small scale. There is horst here between this and this, and there is graben here between this and this, formed by two opposite normal faults, of opposite direction, either this normal fault and this, or this normal fault and this. And the normal fault and the movement of the beds are appeared clearly from these chert bands in the upper wash beef member. There is also drag fold. As we know, normal fold is characterized by a kind of folding called the drag fold, formed along the hanging wall or the down thrown side of the normal fold. Here is a drag fold formed. This an image to show the drag fold. Here is a drag fold formed in the hanging wall, and there is also graben and horst. Here is small fold or small scale graben, and there is larger scale horst. Again, here is the complete of the drag fold view. As we can see, here is the anticline formed in the foot wall in the up thrown side, and here is syncline formed in the down thrown side in the hanging wall. That's what's called by drag fold. There is drag fold on large scale or on basin scale structure. This anticline is considered an excellent closure that's targeted by the geologists to search or to look for hydrocarbon excretion. Okay, I hope it's clear for you. Okay. As we know, folding in brittle in hard rocks results in the formation of fractures. Here's small folds that appeared clearly in the field for the upper wash C formation member, for the limestone in the upper wash C member. Here's an anticline, by the way. Anticline in limestone member causes the formation of fractures along the crest on the anticline. And the number of fractures decreases gradually as we move away from the crest on the anticline towards the two limbs. The fractures decrease gradually as we move toward the two limbs. That's what appeared clearly in the upper wash C member in the upper wash village or in the Hassana dome. Here's the crest, these fractures along the limestone that's on the crest of the anticline formed in the upper wash C member. Finally, we have an excellent exposure for a fault, and that's the upper wash D formation member and the upper wash E member. We have here a fault, and we have here an anticline and syncline. Here's the anticline. Here's the limbs of the anticline. Here's the two limbs of the anticline and the syncline. There is something like compression. Compress the upper wash E member towards the upper wash D member, cause folding, the formation of folding or the folding of this member to anticline and syncline. Okay, that's the end of this presentation. I hope that I could illustrate clearly the features or the main features of the Apollonia formation or the Apollonia. For the main features of the upper wash formation in Hassana anticline. I dislike to discuss or illustrate more details from a presentation. I think more details need a visit to the village in the western desert of Egypt. It's not far away from Cairo, by the way. It's very near to Cairo, and you can visit it easily by any car. It's not required to have a 4x4 car or specific equipment or tools. It's very easy to visit this area. You will find very treasures of structures and stratigraphy in this zone in Hassana anticline and Upper Awash village. I hope that my presentation is clear for you. I hope that I could clarify and illustrate the presentation easily for you. Thank you very much for your listening. Thank you, William, for Alexander. I'm sorry. Thank you, Alexander, for your comment. You encouraged me to illustrate this presentation in English. I hope that my presentation is a bit clear for you, and I hope that you really benefited from this presentation. And I hope you could follow my presentation for next time. I think I will repeat this presentation, or I will teach the coming presentation in English also. Thank you for listening, and I will record the live video again for comments and questions. Thank you very much, and see you in the next video. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.